Good evening, everyone. This is an open public meeting of the Neptune Township Board of Education. In accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, adequate advance written notice of the meeting was made by posting the schedule of meetings in the main floor lobby of the Board of Education Administrative Offices and by delivery to the Asbury Park Press, poster, and the Neptune Township. Advance electronic notice has been made on the district's website, consistent with bylaw 0164.6. In order to abide by the Open Public Meetings Act, Board of Education members may use their digital devices to follow the agenda, report out from meetings, to view agenda background materials, but not to communicate with each other or anyone outside of the meeting. Fire exits are located in the direction indicated. In case of fire, you will be signaled by bell and/or public address system. If so alerted, please move in a calm, orderly fashion to the nearest exit. Postings have been placed on the bulletin board for everyone's use. Please do not remove these postings. You may obtain free copies of the documents from the district website or purchase copies by writing the Board of Education. During the public session of this meeting, parties having comments are requested to address the president. The public is advised, in accordance with bylaw 0168, an unofficial audio recording of this meeting is being made. Pursuant to state statute NJSA 26:3D17 and Neptune Township Board of Education Policy Regulation 7434, no smoking is permitted on Board of Education property. As a reminder, Neptune Township School District is a community for all learners where we value opportunity, diversity, and accountability. Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris?
Here.
Ms. Hoffman? Here. Mr. Hubbard?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Morgan?
She's here. She's here. Perfect timing.
Ms. Perrier?
Here.
Ms. Thompson? Here. Mr. West?
Here.
Ms. Jackson?
Here.
Madam President?
Thank you. Please also note administration that is present. At this time, we will have a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand and join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone, and good evening and welcome again. We do not have student government remarks as our amazing students graduated on June 18th, so we will not have student government remarks for the summer. We also will not have showcase in the summer because, of course, schools are closed, so we will resume both of those in September. So we will move right to our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few things. I may have mentioned to you that our Neptune High School Scarlet Sound attended the Trills and Thrills event, where they have accomplished something that only two other groups have managed to do, and they got perfect scores from all three judges. So congratulations to Scarlet Sound. We also have Green Grove teacher Donna Datata has been named the New Jersey Center for Tourette Syndrome and Associated Disorders as the 2025 Educator of the Year. Congratulations to Ms. Datata. There are two compliance issues I need to share with you that Mrs. Della Sala will put in the minutes. We received our interim review from the Department of Education for CUSAC, and for those people who are new, CUSAC is our monitoring system that is quality, something individual continuum, quality assurance. So we actually, a few years ago in 2023, if you recall, we were 2 points away from passing curriculum instruction. And then when they came back out in November, we lost 4 points. We are back up now and we have gained 2 points. So we are at 76, just 4 points from passing. All other areas have always passed, and curriculum instruction reflects our test scores that we continue to work on. That is one compliance issue. The other is the Student Safety Data System report for period 2. You all by now know that we have to do this twice a year. The first part of the year is September to December, and the second part is January to the end of June. I shared with you that report we have the ability, administrators and I have the ability to drill down into that system and find out some of the details of where these things are happening. But I'm happy to report that we have 31 fewer incidents this year from last year. So that is good news. And that is it for me, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Crater. Mr. Hubbard, can I ask you to move our minutes, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approved the minutes of the special meeting / NJSBA training on May 27th, 2025, work session of May 27th, 2025, and regular meeting on May 28th, 2025. So move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Board members, any questions? That was moved by Mr. Hubbard, seconded by Ms. Jones. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Morgan?
Aye.
Ms. Perdier?
Aye.
Ms. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Madam President.
Okay. Thank you. I just realized I printed out the wrong agenda, so bear with me if I say the wrong information. All right, so, but this part is on the agenda. This is our public forum. We are at the public comment. Oftentimes, it may appear to members of our audience that the Board of Education takes action with very little comment, and in many cases, by unanimous vote. Before a matter is placed on the agenda at a public meeting, administration has thoroughly reviewed the matter with the superintendent of schools. If the superintendent of schools is satisfied that the matter is ready to be presented to members of the Board of Education, it is then referred to the appropriate board committee. The members of the board committee work with administration and the superintendent to assure members fully understand the matter. When the committee is satisfied with the matter, it is then presented to the Board of Education for discussion before any final action is taken. Only then is it placed on the agenda for action at a public meeting. All personnel motions are at the recommendation of the superintendent. All agenda postings are available for public review. In rare instances, matters are presented to the Board of Education for discussion at the same meeting that final action may be taken. Time will be allotted now for public comment. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes when recognized by the presiding officer. Individuals wishing to address the board shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their names, addresses, and the group, if any, that they represent. Although the board encourages public participation, it reserves the right through its presiding officer to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not in keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. The board will not respond to questions during the public participation portion of this meeting involving the employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluations of the performance of, promotion or disciplining of any specific prospective or current employee. The floor is now open for public comment. Please come forward if you would like to speak. You may have to turn the microphone on as well. Just push the up button on the.
Oh, I don't know. There you go. Okay. Rob Hoffman, 3 Sycamore Street, Neptune. I'm here to discuss what safety protocols are going to be put in place due to the incident at the middle school.
So this isn't the forum for a back and forth, but I will share with
Okay.
you. We are still discussing that matter. In fact, I have a meeting with the secondary principals on, I believe, July 7th or July 8th. What we don't want to do is have a knee-jerk reaction to this. This was an isolated, although scary, incident, and I don't want to sound cavalier about it. We take great pride in how much training we've provided our staff and the protocols that we go through, put in place to handle any emergency situations. In this case, this situation was handled very quickly, very decisively, communicated well. No student or staff member was in any immediate danger. That is not going to make you feel better as a parent. So I understand your concern. We are approaching this very carefully because there's no research to support the use of metal detectors. Everyone kind of goes to that right away. The metal detector choice is not a good option. In fact, it sometimes hinders feelings of safety and security and creates a false sense of security. there are logistics issues with that as well. There are other considerations we're talking about right now that I won't go into, and I can't talk too much about the incident itself because it's a legal matter right now, but do know that we are talking about it, we're looking at it. We want to be able to provide that sense of comfort and security, but we have to keep in mind also that everywhere we go, we have to be mindful of what safety protocols are in place, a holistic approach, keeping yourself safe. That is a better approach than changing to metal detectors or any such drastic responses.
See, I don't think metal detectors are the answer either, but would this have even happened if the student wasn't caught vaping? Like, I mean, are there other ways to proactively stop this from
Yeah,
happening?
that's what we're talking about.
Correct, yeah. You haven't given me any answers though.
I can't give you answers because we haven't landed on anything, and I don't want speculation to be out there.
Understood, but like, for peace of mind for other families that are concerned about this, that are
Yeah.
sending their kids to this school where this happened.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to sound cavalier, but it's the same situation when you go anywhere right now, right? Schools have to be safe places, and we have to
Right, I agree,
we
but
have to ratchet that up, that level of preventive, holistic care.
understood, but
relationships, all of that.
when a child is dropped off at a school, the parents are no longer with them, and you're saying
Yeah.
in a broad situation where, kids might be out on their own or things like
Yeah.
that, there's
Yeah.
other things, school is a totally different scenario.
Yeah, we have to have a higher standard. I agree with you. And I'm open to ideas and suggestions from parents. If you want to email me or make an appointment to talk with me, I'm happy to do that as well.
Are you gonna share the details of what you're talking
Yes,
about
if
with
we
other
make any
families?
changes for the 25-26 school year, we will absolutely share them with parents.
When is that information gonna come out? Is that gonna be,
I
okay,
don't know.
so is that gonna happen before September?
If we make changes, the parents will definitely know before September.
Do you feel changes should be made after this incident?
I haven't reviewed all of the options at this point. I'm not convinced yet that drastic changes need to be made.
But you do agree that changes need to be made and certain situations need to be.
I think we're
So you're-
talking about, we're kind of mincing words here. I'd rather
No,
talk to you after. And
Okay.
again, this is not the forum for a back and forth.
Understood, all right.
Thank you.
So if you'd like to stick around and talk to Dr. Crater after the meeting, you're definitely welcome to do so, and also make an appointment with her, that you can speak in greater detail. And if you like, are you commenting today? No? And sir, are you commenting? Okay. All right, we just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to speak. So the public forum is now closed. Ms. Jones, can you move our superintendent's report, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under superintendent's report as per document A, items 1 through 15. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Jones, seconded by Mr. Hubbard. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Perrier,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye,
Madam President.
thank you. Vice President Thompson, can you move our finance items, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under finance as per document B1, items 1 through 11. So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Vice President Thompson. I think that was Puryear. I get the name, at the end of the table, it's faint, so I can't hear. So Ms. Puryear seconded. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Perrier,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye,
Madam President.
thank you. Mr. West, can you move our transportation, I'm sorry, our facilities item, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under facilities as per document B2, item 1. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. West, seconded by Vice President Thompson. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Perrier,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye,
Madam President.
Thank you. Ms. Harris, can you move our transportation items, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under transportation as per document B3, items 1 through 5. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Harris, seconded by Mr. West. Board members, any questions? Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Puryear,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Ms. Puryear, can you move our education special projects items?
Thank you,
Item.
President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under education special projects as per document C1, item 1. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Puryear, seconded by Vice President Thompson. At the other end of the table, can you make sure your mics are on? I'm having difficulty hearing. Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan. Aye. Ms. Puryear. Aye. Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoffman, can you move our special education items, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under special education as for document C2, items 1 through 2. So moved.
Second.
Uh-oh.
Diana seconded.
Okay, all right. It's been moved by Mrs. Hoffman, seconded by Ms. Harris. Board members, any questions? Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Puryear. Aye. Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Hubbard, can you move our student activities item, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under education, student activity as per document C3, items 1. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hubbard, seconded by Mr. West. Board members, any questions? Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Puryear,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Mrs. Morgan, can you move our personnel items, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under personnel as per document D1, items 1 through 57. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Morgan, seconded by Ms. Jones. Board members, any questions? Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye to all, sustain from 15.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
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 Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Puryear,
Abstain.
all.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Vice President Thompson, can you move our negotiations items, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve item recommended by the superintendent under negotiations as per document D2, item 1. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice President Thompson, seconded by Ms. Puryear. Board members, any questions? Ms. Dellasala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Morgan,
Aye.
Ms. Puryear,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. West, can you move our employment contract items, please?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under employment as per document D3, items 1 through 2. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. West, seconded by Vice President Thompson. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris.
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard.
Aye.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Morgan.
Aye.
Ms. Spurrier.
Aye.
Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Aye.
Ms. Jackson.
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Ms. Harris, can you move our schedule of meetings, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve items recommended by the superintendent under schedule of meetings. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Harris, seconded by Mr. West. Board members, any questions? Ms. Della Sala, roll call, please.
Ms. Harris.
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard.
Aye.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Morgan.
Aye.
Ms. Spurrier.
Aye.
Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Aye.
Ms. Jackson.
Aye.
Madam President.
Thank you. Board members, please note that we have on July 30th, the 2 board trainings beginning at 5 p.m. And I will be sending information regarding the board goals process prior to that. So look forward to seeing that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice President Thompson, seconded by Ms. Puryear. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next month. Have a great evening.